Tell me about a time you had a conflict with a coworker. Tell me about a time you had to learn something quickly. Tell me about a time a project failed. These are all behavioral interview questions. And folks, they trip people up during interviews more than you think. Not because the questions are hard, but because people do not know how to answer them correctly and strategically. But today, we are going to fix that. But before we get into it, my name is Kim. I am a big tech recruiter and career advancement expert. I help professionals land higher paying jobs without all the stress or confusion. So if you want to make more money in 2026 or beyond, be sure to give my channel a follow. I post videos twice a week to help people land a better paying job. So let's get back to it. Behavioral interview questions are pretty simple in nature. We're asking about a time that you did something in order for the interviewer to best predict how you will handle a similar something in the future. When we ask questions like, tell me about a time you had a conflict with a coworker, we know that it's inevitable for people to have conflicts in the workplace. So we want to see how you, candidate, handled a problem in the past to best predict how you would handle a similar problem in the future. Time travel is a thing that's only in the movies, at least as far as I know. So behavioral interview questions are the next best thing. So, this is the framework that you need to follow in order to orchestrate a flawless behavioral interview question response. And that is using the STAR method. We've all heard of the STAR method. And if you haven't, it's okay. It's okay if you haven't. But I know that it is prominent out there. And the reason that people talk about the STAR method so much is because it works. And the people who say that the STAR method does not work are not executing it correctly. So let's talk about how to utilize the STAR method framework effectively. So here's the breakdown. First is S for situation. You're just going to set the scene briefly. What was going on? What was the goal from leadership? Give the interviewer some context about what was going on. Remember, you were there in the example. The interviewer was not. So, assuming that they have context about what was going on in the business or the industry or in your department is not a safe move. So, invest a little bit of time, 2 to 3 sentences at the beginning of your response to set the stage. It's like going to a play. In the playbill, it says Act 1, the Smiths' apartment on a rainy Saturday afternoon. Mrs. Smith is cooking dinner in anticipation of her husband coming home from his week-long fishing trip, or something like that. Next is task. This is your specific responsibility in reaction to the situation. Another way to think about it is what was the problem that you were trying to solve? So, situation is the context, and then task is based off of the sales goals from the leadership team. I was tasked with leading a team of 15 junior sales executives to meet this quota by the end of Q4. That's the task. Next is action, the specific steps that you took in order to accomplish that task or in order to solve that problem. Not your manager, not your team, not your direct reports, you. Now, if you were a people manager, or even if you were part of a larger team, it's okay for you to say, we were responsible for this part and give the umbrella, but then make it clear out of everything under that umbrella, I was responsible for this. I led that. I initiated this. I took ownership of that. Me, as opposed to we did this or our responsibility. Remember, folks, this is your interview. So take ownership of the things that you accomplished and give credit to the team with what the team accomplished. And the last piece is the result. How did it turn out? Did you actually meet the deadline? Did you make the sales quota? Did you resolve the conflict with the coworker? How was it all resolved? This is where you tie it up with a little bow. Now that we understand how to use the STAR method, this is how we use the STAR method strategically. And you accomplish that in two ways. One, to make it relevant, and two, with data. The examples that you share should illustrate a scope and scale and impact that is relevant or similar to the work that you would potentially be doing in this new job. Remember, the purpose of the behavioral interview question is not just to learn more about you, which is nice. Of course, we do want to learn more about you. But what we're trying to do is predict future behavior based off of your previous behavior. And the only way to do that is by looking at your past accomplishments. So the accomplishments that you share should be relevant to the job that you are applying to do, hopefully in the future. So by selecting examples that highlight a similar scope, scale, and impact, you are then able to clearly identify that you can do a similar job at this new employer. So ask yourself, is this response going to help the interviewer picture me being successful in an environment similar to the one that they are currently working in, the one that I want to work in? It's important to quantify information in your responses to these behavioral interview questions. And there are a few ways that you can do that strategically. The first is a before and after. So give us the starting numbers in the situation and the task, and then give us the ending numbers in the results section of the STAR method. The second way is to talk about how you used data as part of your work back plan. So, how did you use data to educate your decision making? You would talk about that in the action part of the STAR method. Knowing that it takes us this long to build this thing, and we needed so many people to build it, that is what helped us to determine this part of our work back plan. And the third way is to provide context. Maybe the situation that you're sharing in your interview example is a bit of an anomaly and not typical for the industry or that skill set. So, giving some numbers to provide some context is helpful. Perfect example. Business did not function the same way during a global pandemic as it does now. So, providing some numbers and context to talk about what a realistic expectation is during an anomaly like that is helpful in your interview responses. Another way to provide context is if you know that your interviewer does not have that same frame of reference, providing that context can help eliminate any sort of question marks that they may have. So, folks, that's it. It's no secret, no surprise. They're just behavioral interview questions. Stop overthinking it. All the interviewer wants to do is understand whether you will be able to do the job you're applying to at the scope and scale that they need you to in order to be successful. They're just trying to predict future behavior based off of your past behavior. And so the examples that you share with the STAR method is the most effective way for you to showcase that. Please give my channel a follow. Like I said, I post videos twice a week and we talk about resumes, interviews, my take on the job market. And I would love to see you back here again. And please forward this video to someone who's currently looking for work and you think this will be helpful. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by and happy job hunting. Bye bye.